not invaluable, okay? After school private, if you think about aligning things with some of these mandates like national art standards or what's going into core content standards, or you even have instructional objectives or outcomes for your students, you have more to converse with parents about, both from the perspective of talking about the progress of their child in your class, as well as being able to talk about what the value of this class is in their bigger picture. You know, and even if it's an after-school program, if you say, this program is aligned with state content standards in the arts, you know, if your child isn't getting enough of that in the school, they will get the full complement of that by being in this after-school program or something like that. You have another, let's say, step up in, you know, rather than we're teaching your kids to dance. Not that that's bad. Yes.
Yeah. Most open classes in New York do not do.
Well, that's a problem. Yeah. They don't do that at all, and why? But they can, and that's the difference. So what I say, and what you'll hear me say from now until the day you graduate from this program, is standards and assessment are not just for formal schooling. Lesson plans, standards, assessment are for everything. For instance, in an open class, if somebody came to you in an open class and say, I've been taking your intermediate class, can I take your advanced class? And you either say yes or no, what's it based on?
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
It's not just their technical ability, church, maturity level.
You have these, you just haven't written them out.
Yeah.
You're saying them right now. Does everybody hear that? Okay? Because you're saying that in order to get to the advanced level, the students will have, and then go to Christine's word, the student is, and when we write the instructional objectives, we use exactly her language. So repeat that again, so we'll write it down for everybody.
Students will be able to.
This is why I brought my own. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let's see if the red's working. And then if not, I'll use my own. Yes.
I was thinking of the psychomotor versus the cognitive. Yeah. And I'm thinking even my simplest lesson plan, students will be able to identify, like, let's just say left and right. That is not just a psychomotor, that's cognitive as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hold that thought. Yeah, no, let's do that thought first. This is my issue with this, because you just brought it up, so I'll just go along with this. We don't exist in 3 independent places. Yes. Where, you know, 2 weeks ago when I was last with you, we talked about a holistic person. It's not to just say my foot moves and I'm not thinking, and I'm not feeling, you know? My foot moves because I'm both thinking and feeling, and we're doing this all together, so I really get very hung up in this cognitive domain, psychomotor domain, and affective domain. But I am guilty. I talk in that language because that's what principals talk in. In fact, I wrote a whole chapter for a book about how we develop somebody in the psychomotor domain, because that's the language that people talk. So I think it's possible. What I'm advocating is you don't change the world by just saying, you know, go away, I don't speak your language. You speak the language that they want to hear, and then you take them somewhere else, okay? So if you're in a set environment like a formal school, where they say, write out your cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains, the first thing you do is show that within the dance class you're doing all of them. And then with your students, you talk about how this is a holistic process. And you don't say to the principal, no, I don't deal with those words. Does everybody follow me? It's just a different way of, yeah. So I really think, and I totally agree with you, in the dance class, we do it all together. But just make sure that that's how you write about these things. Yes.
I do agree with that. I think that as dance educators, it is really important to know those things, because I feel a lot of the times I'm fighting to prove why this is important for our children.
Right.
I'm constantly fighting, saying, you know, hey, I'm just like this, just like social studies, science, math, and English. Right.
So. And you could do that with your outcomes, and then you have the evidence. The evidence is not like what happens in CSI, but the evidence is what the students are doing in class then shows that they have achieved these. So to go back to Bendy's class, is you can have some ideas like this. At the end of this intermediate open class, students will be able to, and you want to make sure they can do more than just knowledge. Okay? So a basic, but knowledge is good. Students should be able to know the right from the left. Okay, that's basic knowledge, right? Okay. But then we want to go a little further. Understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. So obviously, the objectives you're going to write for special ed at age high school, and what you're going to write for an open class, you may not have them written out anywhere, but they're going to be right up here. It's going to be completely different, but you're going to have basic knowledge. You're going to have understanding, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, and you want them to be able to achieve that to then move on to something else. If you're in a private studio, it's something that keeps social promotion from happening. Because if you can sit down with a parent and say, at the end of, let's say, level 5, the student should be able to da-da-da-da-da, and the student can't, and all their friends are going on to level 6, you can say, well, it wouldn't be beneficial to your child to go on to level 6 because she has not yet accomplished this. Then you have, if you have outcomes, then you have a way of speaking to parents and not just saying, okay, she's good enough. That's kind of a waste of everybody's time and money. So let's write some instructional objectives. Let's go on with Christine. So let's take high school special ed kids. So basic knowledge is the students will be able to differentiate between left and right. What might go a little higher up into higher order thinking? The student will be able to what? And then we have to think of verbs that differentiate or name is basically in the knowledge domain. What would be understand? What kind of verbs can we use to go up there? Yes.
Oh, we would want them to be able to execute 7 locomotor movements starting.
Execute 7 locomotor movements. So that might actually get us to understanding. Okay, what would get us to application? What kind of verb? Execute. We have to think of active verbs.
Execute is, in the taxonomy, execute is under apply.
It is applied. Okay. So that is application.
Can I bring up something I keep thinking of is, I'm almost feeling like in dance education, we automatically go straight through knowledge and understanding to application, because as soon as you want somebody to do a dance, they don't have to just know the dance, they have to do the dance and have it in their body.
Right.
Aren't we going
But
straight
sometimes
to
we
apply all
don't
the time?
we don't go that fast. Just knowing the difference between left and right really is knowledge. Okay, so sometimes actually in dance, by skipping this, that's where some of those videos that will not be named have trouble. Does everybody follow me? All of you ABT people? Yes, okay. That's where the real problem is. What's the matter with basic knowledge? Okay, basic knowledge is, in our little pyramid here, a very nice foundation. Without our foundation, the top isn't going to stand. Maggie, were you raising your hand or just stretch? Okay. Inferring? Yeah, inferring, okay.
Other types of the same.
Okay, so execute comes under application. Give me some more verbs to go a little higher.
Students will be able to physically demonstrate.
Physically demonstrate is sort of in around here. Do you think that's around here?
Yeah.
Okay. Combination between, yeah. Like if you say plie and they can physically demonstrate a plie, it's kind of a cross between knowledge and understanding, yes.
Students, like if we were to go to evaluate or go higher up, they should be able to see if somebody else is using the correct foot.
Right, okay. Okay, good.
So create a combination using certain
Create a combination, where are we here? Analysis, synthesis, synthesis. So create, okay.
combination using all of the different dance terminology and positions that are
Right. And then you could fill in the blank with a whole slew of things there. It doesn't have to just be your example. Create a combination using the concept of fondue. That's it. You're still up here and create, yes? Or melting if we're not in a ballet class, or, create a combination using a contrast of sharp and smooth. Yeah? Okay. Where's evaluation take place? Give me some verbs.
Self-correcting.
Self-correcting, okay, what else?
Critiquing.
Critique, pardon me? I heard another word that I didn't hear.
Correct others.
Correct others, self-correct, or feedback. Yes, feedback. Okay, where else? I'm hearing access. What do you
Assess.
mean? Oh, assess. I'm sorry. Okay, assess. Yes, assess. All right. Okay, so this is what this book is good for. Okay? And one thing, and I have to tell you, for 2 hours of my life today, I'm chair of a committee that does just this. So if you think this is just for public schools, I have to tell you that every new course that gets approved in Steinhardt, the entire Steinhardt, has to go through this process. So we spent 2 hours sitting in a room over in Plus Hall with all these new proposed syllabi lying out and saying, do they have enough? Do they go into higher order learning? Is it written like the students will be able to? This is undergraduate, master's degree, and doctoral course proposals. We want to verify that every single course that's proposed through all of Steinhardt is considering this. Okay? The one question we don't discuss is this. Okay? The only place where I hear that question discussed is with children. Okay? When you get into the level of higher education, that discussion doesn't come up anymore. That's a very good question. And I don't have the answer to it. I'm just telling you what it is. But this is right now my life.
But there's an ambition. So
Pardon me?
there's an ambition in order to attend a program like this, so psychomotor skills will actually.
Yes, but it's not discussed as, when we review all the syllabi for all of Steinhardt, we don't say is it covering cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains. Most of what they're concerned with is right there. And they never quite know what to do with those course proposals that have anything else in it. They kind of go, oh, that's nice. Okay, I see it.
Kind of lost. That means that, for example, in an educational program, all the program has through these steps: knowledge, understanding, application, analysis.
Right.
But, for example, knowledge. A student be able. A student could have certain knowledge inside cognitive field or inside psychomotor field or inside.
Well, according to Bloom, a person can, but I would challenge that. I say, like, let's go back to basic knowledge, differentiating between left and right. I think it's a more holistic. It's cognitive, I'm thinking about it. It's psychomotor, I can differentiate. I know I'm stepping my left before my right. And it's kind of effective too, because we all have feelings about sides. Yes?
Not necessarily, of this instance, has to have these three components: cognitive, psychomotor,